In today's video, my top 3 tips on how to get shredded and keep muscle.
All by myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, I'm going to give you 3 very specific guidelines on how you can get shredded and keep the most amount of muscle possible while doing so. And I'll basically discuss the philosophy behind how you get shredded and have a lot of muscle, okay? Because I think there is a process there that we need to discuss a little bit of, okay? It's not just a simple thing that somebody can do immediately. We gotta discuss the topic. So the question came from my Instagram. That's right, so if you go on the screen here, follow me on Instagram and send me a direct message. If you're not already doing so, then I can answer your question. And today's question, well, it's exactly what I said here. I'll put it on the screen. But this gentleman was just telling me how when he gets shredded, he doesn't feel like he keeps a lot of muscle, and when he's kind of building muscle, he doesn't feel that lean. So I want to talk about my tips and then kind of an overarching theme. So let's talk about tip number 3. So my first tip for getting shredded and keeping the muscle is to keep your protein elevated throughout the process. So what do I mean by that? Well, I typically don't change my protein throughout my entire fat loss phase. When I go from, say, 230 pounds down to 195, I don't lower my protein throughout the entire process. Why? Well, I feel the leaner you get, the more benefit protein has for you. Protein is very, very difficult to be stored as body fat. It has the most satiety over any macronutrient, meaning when you eat protein, you feel fuller. It also is necessary for muscle building and muscle recovery, which those needs may be increased while you're in a caloric deficit. So, someone like myself, I start dieting on 250 grams of protein. Now, when I start creating a caloric restriction, I keep my protein at 250 grams throughout the entire process. Is this the same for everybody? Perhaps not, but it just works for me. I enjoy it. That's a lot of protein for me to eat on a daily basis. I have some people that prefer to eat more, some people that prefer to eat a little bit less, right? But that would be my first tip. My second tip is around your training. What are you doing in the gym to build your muscle? What have you been doing for the last couple of years to build that muscle, to get dense muscle on your body? Whatever it is that you've been doing, do not completely change that philosophy in contest prep or in a fat loss phase. Some people will start to go, you know what, my goal now is to get leaner, so I'm gonna start doing exercises that keep my heart rate elevated. I wanna burn more calories. Separate your fat loss from your muscle building, okay? Go in the gym, hit it hard, do what you've been doing to build the muscle. Lose body fat through creating a caloric deficit. It is essential that you continue to train hard. You should continue making progress well into the diet, okay? Only at the very end, when you are really sub 10% body fat, sub 7 or 8% body fat, should there be a noticeable degradation in performance and strength, okay? And some of that comes down to leverages. It's not just about, being low body fat. So don't take the mindset that, oh, I'm gonna get weaker, I'm having a bad day, let it go. No. Push for more workouts. This is when pre-workouts, caffeine, things can really help us and benefit us in the gym. Now, my third tip for getting shredded and keeping muscle is something that has been harped on by me for a long time now, and it's simply this. Do not rush the process. Do not try to do it in 12 weeks, okay? Most people do not make the right weight choice when they pick their diet. They think, well, I'm 200 pounds, I'm gonna be shredded at 185 to 180. No, you're gonna be shredded at 165, 170 if you're lucky, okay? These are the hard truths. We have a lot more body fat than we think when it comes to getting shredded. Does that mean we shouldn't have body fat? No, that's not my point. My point is you wanna get elite levels of leanness. So what happens when we try to rush that process? Well, we end up creating a huge caloric deficit. We end up doing tons of cardio, and what suffers the most? Our training and our recovery. When our training and our recovery suffer the most, well, that's when we're more likely to lose lean body mass, okay? The way to keep muscle throughout prep is to keep your training intensity high. And we can't do that if we only give ourselves a short window, because there's going to be a lot of pressure. If you give yourself a longer time to lose weight, last year I essentially started dieting in January and I competed in August and October. through that time, I had weekends where I didn't track, I took diet breaks, I gave myself time to recover and feel good. And that's the same approach I take with my clients. When we have a serious goal, like getting on a national stage, something that is, a natural pro bodybuilder, something where our goal is to become the best we can possibly be, we need to take our time during that process, okay? There are some benefits to taking your time. When it's not so harsh, coming out of the process is gonna be much better. Because what good is it if you nail this whole process, you get shredded, you have all the muscle, but then when it's over, you lose it like that? Well, if you take your time, you're gonna create a lifestyle that's much more sustainable so that you can come out of it with purpose. Now, there's one thing I wanna mention here, because those 3 steps are great, but there's one thing that I have found that really matters the most, and that's time under the iron. How long have you been training? If you've only been lifting weights for 1 or 2 years and you diet down, you're going to sacrifice quite a bit of that muscle. Why? Because your body hasn't adapted to holding on to it. Every time that I've dieted down, and I started contest prepping when I was 32 and I'm 43 now, so I've done about 10 years. I just turned 43, so 10 years. Each time I've dieted down, I've noticed that I've retained my muscle better and better. My weight hasn't changed a whole lot, but my muscle density just looks completely different. And that's almost something you can't see in pictures or videos. It's almost something you have to see with the naked eye. I notice it in the mirror, I notice it in the gym. I just notice I look different than I ever have. And there's really no explanation. A lot of people will say muscle maturity. That's just one way of saying I'm old, but you get the point. Now, when I first did my first show, I was 32. When did I start lifting weights? When I was 16 or 17. So I had over 14 years of consistent weight training before I ever dieted down. Now, I'm not saying that everyone should wait that long. Heck, I think I probably would be better off if I had been able to do a bodybuilding show in my early 20s just to learn the time management, the dedication, how much I love this, right? I think I waited probably too long, but I have no regrets. I love my damn life. So whenever it's right for you to diet down, it's right for you. If that means you haven't been lifting weights for that long, just understand that the less time you've been in the gym, the more likely is you're gonna lose a little bit of that muscle throughout the process. I find the best natural bodybuilders in the world are guys in their 40s and guys in their late 40s and even some guys in their 50s when you think of people like Marshall Johnson. If you're not familiar with him, check him out. But these guys have just been at it for so long that that muscle's not going anywhere. Not through diet, not through adding cardio. That muscle is there. So those are my 3 tips and my philosophy. Hopefully you guys are having an awesome day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
By myself.